Hey, you've reached the Law of Attraction Detox, where today we will be talking about how to change your beliefs so that you don't have to try so hard to be more abundant in this life. Stay tuned while we talk about that. So I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while, and it involves your state of being and how we perceive our world. And so if you think in your life that there's not enough and there never is enough, and you don't get what you want, and you continue to see that in your everyday life, right? It keeps showing you that that is true, then perhaps your key to success and changing that dynamic in your life is to perceive things differently. And it's very hard to do because we get a feedback loop of whatever we've dominantly believed our whole lives. Okay, so like the work of Joe Dispenza, where you're changing, the neuroplasticity is changing into new neurons and new dendrites are being formed and there's new pathways being formed. Well, what the hell does it have to do with me being abundant, you ask? Well, we behave differently when we think the world is pleasing to us, when the world is going to provide for us. We behave differently. And when we behave differently, we give off a different vibe, right? You know, you can just tell like some person that you met at the grocery store, like, oh, it's got this vibe to them that you really like. And that vibe is what is going to bring in more abundance into your life. So if someone's you know, believing that there's not enough and they're grumpy about it and they're like, oh, you know, they're probably going to behave a little bit differently. They're going to have a weirder vibe around abundance and financial abundance. And so perhaps someone who has extra, who's looking to, say, hire someone or looking to give to a worthy cause, is going to not maybe feel inclined to give someone money who just looks like a grouch. So that right there is just one prime example of how your mindset, when you shift into a different state of being, that's why affirmations are important, right? We say these things like, nope, the universe is always lining up for me. God provides. God is my supply. The more that you form those pathways in your mind, which is competing against everything we've been taught from our parents and society, it's very difficult work. That's why people don't succeed at changing their mindset, because it's hard to do. But the more that you persist in that knowing, the more that you will see in your life that it shows up and it's true. And that's why my work that I do with people is so exciting. You know, I'm offering basically that reformation of those connections in your brain. I'm doing that with you in the sessions. I'm offering that moment where you have that connection, and then we're working with the conscious mind and the subconscious mind so that they're both on board, you know, because I know some hypnotherapists, they put you under and you don't remember what happened. And you're like, I don't know, did something happen? I don't know. But what I do differently is I spend a good hour and a half sitting with my clients, going over all of the details of their current state of being, how it feels in their body, the thoughts they might be thinking. And we get down to the core of the onion and we go, aha, this is your seed belief. This is your attachment to this situation in your life. It has been serving you up until now. Aha. And so now we can tell the conscious mind, okay, that's been serving us until now, but this also can serve in the same way, this other positive thing. And then we talk about that. And how would that positive thing feel in your life? How would it feel to have extra in your life? And through that process, the conscious mind is on board with the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is like, they have the iceberg analogy where just the tip of the iceberg is what we're consciously aware of, and then 95% or something like that is unconscious or from our subconscious mind. Program, autonomic, happens based on what we've been programmed with throughout our lives. Most of it happening through our formative years, 0 to 9 years, and then, you know, throughout traumas and certain things that happen through our life, more things morph and shape in our subconscious mind, which is why we behave the way that we do, why we think automatically the way that we think. And so if that thing is programming you to behave a certain way, speak a certain way, then we better address that. You know, we can talk to the conscious mind all that we want, but if we're not addressing deep underlying beliefs behind it all, then the change doesn't really happen. And so that's why I see these profound shifts happen with my clients, is because I'm speaking to the conscious mind. The conscious mind is on board. Yes, this makes sense. Yes, I'm on board with this. I'm totally willing to believe that. Cool. And then we use the body to come up with the somatic responses that you would have in that new situation. For instance, in the new state of being that you would have a partner, or in that new, like a loving relationship, or in that new state of being you would have extra, or confidence, or you wouldn't be a smoker anymore, or you see where I'm going with this. And your body can physically feel that. So now not only do we have the conscious mind on board, we're programming in with the subconscious mind, but now we also have the body on board. And so we have these, all three things are working together. And the soul, you know, the soul's already pretty much there. The soul is saying, fuck yes, can we move on from this trauma? Can we move on from this pattern? I'd like to experience more love and more expansion. And that's when it takes root. About halfway through the session, something happens and shifts, and it becomes, the world becomes a little bit more dreamy, let's say. And that's when the soul has come in and is all on board. And so oftentimes clients say, well, there's more? I'm like, well, yeah, we haven't even done the hypnosis part yet, because they're feeling so good from the initial intake, the initial process, the initial discovery, the release of something that's been burdening them, sometimes their whole life. And it's like, aha, oh wait, there's more? Oh yes, there's more. And then we get to go into that deep subconscious mind. We get to speak to it. Oh, my hair is getting all wet all over my shirt. I just was inspired. Showers inspire me sometimes. So anyway, when we use all parts of ourselves for change, our external world will also mirror that. And it's not magic, although it is pretty magical to me. It is literally changing the way you show up in the world. And if you're a unique snowflake pattern, which you are, our atoms spin in a certain way and we're each uniquely designed, in that frequency and that shape that you are energetically, you are creating a new pattern. Whenever you shift into some sort of higher state of awareness or some greater expansion of love, and when you expand in that greater field, into that new design, people show up in your world differently. Or, you know, new relationships form with people who are more fitting in that new state of being. People who are maybe more in alignment with an abundant state of mind, let's say, for instance. And so these people in the field of, you know, neuroepigenetic, like Joe Dispenza, and you know, the people like Neville Goddard from, you know, early in the mid-1900s even, talking about the state of being that you dominantly exist in is what creates your world. It's not the other way around. You know, like Abraham Hicks says, we attract in what we are or whatever. And that is true. But what I like to imagine, and what Neville Goddard really explains often, is that you are projecting out onto your movie screen of life that which you are, and that which you believe about life, and that which you believe about yourself. And so through that, everyone is you pushed out quote that is so famous with Neville Goddard. It's like everything in your life is an expression of you. It is your atoms spiraling out and creating a design for you to see. You are painting your own art. You're painting your own design. And it's hard work to change those beliefs that have been stored in your iceberg beneath the water. beneath the surface your whole life. And it's very hard to see, myself included. I have a very hard time seeing myself and my patterns. And it's very helpful to have someone experienced enough to ask these questions, to get down to that deep underlying layer. And it usually revolves around self-worth. It usually revolves around some kind of a lack of loving oneself, an aspect of oneself. And so that creates the feeling of, I'm not worthy of having that. I'm not good enough. It's because you're not loving one little part of yourself, right? And so there's like this three-pronged equation to change. And it goes like this. It says, 1, there's some sort of stimulus that's causing you pain and suffering. 2, there's some sort of attachment to having that you have built around yourself. It's either maybe a defense mechanism or something that feels nurturing. You know, oftentimes with smokers, I find that it's like very soothing to them, or nostalgic, or there's something that makes them feel good. And so the stimulus, we know consciously, is painful. You know that that's not good for you. But there is an underlying, under the surface, positive reason for having that behavior, that mechanism, or whatever it might be in your life, whether it's poverty or being single and not having someone. Maybe there is a really good reason you're protecting. You have a defense. You're defending. If I am a victim to my life, then I don't have to take responsibility for myself. You see what I mean? So there's some sort of underlying unique reason. That's the second part. The third part is a little more tricky. It's accepting that part of yourself, loving that part of yourself that has been causing you pain, that has been choosing that negative stimulus, or has been choosing this. This is radical responsibility, right? I've been choosing to pick partners that aren't suitable for me, to cause me pain so that I can be a victim and so that I can get attention. Or I've been choosing not enough money so that I can not show up in the world and not be seen, right? Because if I don't have enough, then I'm not going to be expected to do more, my share, or, you know, like there's some reason, like, and I want to be safe. I want to play it safe. There's some sort of mechanism there, and it's so fun to discover. So I hope this was helpful to you, that knowing that it's hard work to shift your mindset and to be gentle on yourself. But most importantly, that it's possible. You know, it's really something that each one of us can attain in this lifetime, is a state of mind equal to a state of being where what we deserve to have flows easily into our lives. If you'd like some help with this, I offer hypnotherapy sessions, which are mega reprograms. I also offer coaching for continued support to keep you in that state of being. And I'm really hoping that you find nourishment today, and that you find some self-love, gratitude for the life that you've been given. And I'll see you next time.